Okay. Cool. In my first year, I did maths and physics, so I didn't really have this dilemma. But how did you decide between choosing maths, physics, or engineering?
Actually, when I got to uni there, I was thinking about switching maybe to math and instead of doing physics. But what I realized, what I liked to do was more to apply my knowledge in not such a rigorous way, just on the flow, use it in different situations. But what I found with math was it was very rigorous, and there was a lot of, it was a really picky subject, basically.
Yeah, it's emphasis on how you know something as opposed to just knowing it.
Yeah.
So you'll prove something in 2 or 3 different ways.
Yeah, and I wasn't keen on learning loads of proofs for stuff. For pure stuff, especially that. Because some of my friends would just learn loads of proofs in it.
Yeah, that is definitely an element of maths. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot of problem solving in maths, a very large amount. A lot of it will be stating proofs, proving them, and using them to solve something else. But physics will use approximations to things, and you'll use a theorem. Maybe you'll prove it once in lectures, but you'll never have to know the proof again. You can just know the theorem. It's applying it in novel ways, and it's more or less physics is often about looking at a complex situation and simplifying it to really basic generalizations. So you might take a mass to be a point mass, or you might take a system of particles to just be a center of mass. Whereas in maths, you wouldn't do something like that. You'd have to be very rigorous about it, and you would have to take everything very literally as it is. So it's more whether you are interested in kind of applying it to the universe in real life, because maths is often not necessarily applicable. You couldn't apply the theoretical world you have in maths to real life, whereas physics does that. It takes into account fluctuations and how the world actually behaves.
I guess also what I notice is the way mathematicians do mechanics and dynamics, especially rotating bodies, that sort of thing, and the way we do it as physicists is just very different. The way you guys did it was they were really formal about vectors and that sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas when we do it in physics, it's we don't really care about the vectors, how we're going to get to the answer. It's more about the setup, getting the setup perfectly.
Oh, it's designing the system.
Get the setup, and the rest is just math.
Yeah.
It's just going through that, set up the differential equation or do something.
Yeah, it's more just mechanical as opposed to it's very true. Also, maths will often generalize things into n dimensions, and think about how it would happen if you extended this and made it more general, which is often not really relevant if you're doing if you know we live in a world of 4 dimensions. Why are you considering? Yeah, but I mean the big thing about with maths is practicals, because if you're doing a science at university, there's going to be a big practical element, at least for the first 2 years. So if you really don't have practicals, then it really isn't the right degree for you. Physics is not the right way forward, because it's going to be a big part, and you can't drop it for a long time. So if you just like the theoretical side of it, maths might be a better option, because maths is often similar to how theoretical physics is done, because theoretical physics is quite rigorous. It's not as rigorous as maths is, but it's more that. But if you're doing applied physics, it's a lot more practical based.
Yeah.
So you need to think about whether you like practicals before you take doing science at university.
Yeah, we had 2 days of practicals every week. So basically spent about at least 9 hours. No, maybe 8 to 9 hours on those 2 days.
Which is a lot.
It is a lot. Properly writing the report, properly going through each step of the experiment and getting that checked before we proceed. It takes a long time, and if you don't enjoy it, it's just not going to be the right.
No, it's not the way forward. I wasn't a fan of them, which is why I'm changing to maths next year. But I guess if you really can't decide, you have loads of universities offering maths and physics degrees, which is a nice midpoint. For example, Cambridge does. You can do maths in first year with physics, and then you can choose to split. I mean, it's harder to do it than you do natural science straight away, because you have to pass all the step stuff. But it gives you the option if you want to change.
I guess if you're going to Oxford, I guess there's the 4th year option, which is math and theoretical physics. So you can basically stop labs then, or even we give you the option of dropping half of the labs each year for an option paper, basically. So you could do that.
That is a long way off, though. Yeah, I guess in terms of applying straight away.
I mean, in the first, I think from the 2nd year you can stop dropping labs,
right? Not
from the 1st year. How about engineering?
Engineering, well, I mean, for me, I was never thinking about engineering. But I guess from what I've seen between differences to how engineers treat stuff and physicists treat stuff, because engineering is much more similar to physics than it is to do with maths. Because in terms of its maths application, it's even less rigorous than physics is. It's very much generalizing things to make them simple. Because the whole point of engineering is it's supposed to be applicable and easy to follow, because it's supposed to be building things to actually designing things. So it's more concerned about, I guess, using a physical principle to make things, to build things, as opposed to using them to describe systems. You use descriptions that you already know, and to design things, as opposed to actually making the description.
I guess in engineering you might be able, as are you saying, you might be able to build something and do something with it straight away.
More hands-on.
But in physics, like with first or second year, or maybe like a few years of physics, you might not be able to come up with, like, do something new.